I bet you never thought you'd see the day I'm back on Miyabi, but here we are, and it's the return of a special Miyabi. Enjoy the video. Hello everybody, my name is Cree Gotcha, and I am the modern day equivalent of a medieval jester. Welcome back to the 2.7 Creator Experience Beta. We did our video on the Angels of Crit Illusion, and now it's time for the main spectacle, at least for me personally. And that is the resurgence of Anomaly Miyabi. If you've followed my channel for a while, you know I have made multiple videos on this. It is essentially Miyabi, but instead of doing crit stats, you focus entirely on AP and AM. It's funny. It's funny. Now, you may be asking, well, Cree, why are you back on Miyabi? You don't even like her. Well, that's the thing. This team's fun. I don't care. I might not like a character from a meta standpoint, but I can sure enjoy their gameplay. This team is very fun. Nangong is the test subject that we are putting with our Anomaly Miyabi, and let's just say, it gets a little wild. All footage was recorded on the Creator Experience Beta and is subject to change, so keep that in mind when you watch the following video. Enjoy it, and goodbye. Now, usually with Miyabi, you want a lot of crit. You want like 75, 150, something like that. A lot of crit, a lot of attack. Her main focus is not Anomaly as much. The main thing you want from her Anomaly is Disorder, so she gets stacks for enhanced basic attack. We're ignoring that. We're ignoring that. Minimal crit rolls. We have about 1 roll into crit rate, and I think like 2 or 3 rolls into crit damage, so very minimal, with 3k attack and 513 AP. For our build, we're running something a little funny here. So, we got a new set in 2.7. It is Notes from the Chained. Its 2-piece effect is ice damage plus 10. Its I hiccuped in the middle of that. Its 4-piece effect is whenever the equipper triggers a bloom, their AP is increased by 48 for 30 seconds. Completely worthless for Miyabi. But the second part works on her. When the equipper triggers a freeze effect, their attribute anomaly damage and disorder damage is increased by 16% for 30 seconds. Honestly, wait, is this considered freeze? Does Miyabi consider a freeze? I gotta look this up actually, I gotta pause the I don't know why I was second guessing myself. Yeah, she does freeze. I had to go to Predwin and look if she works with polar metal, which also talks about freezing. I don't know why I second guessed myself. You'll see the numbers this team puts out. Obviously it's working. It's doing something. I was like going through like a mental crisis right there. But we're running 4-piece chained, well, notes from the chained, and 2-piece freedom blues. And for our 4-5-6, we're running AP, base damage bonus, and attack. Interestingly enough, I was trying to aim for a more attack AP focused Disc 6, but I was like, it's 2 rolls of crit rate. I'm not going to worry about it that much. And addressing the elephant in the room, we are using Arya's signature. It increases AM by 30%, has a high base attack, and also gives 90 AP. So if you were going into this video thinking this was not going to be an expensive team, you are wrong. Because our second teammate is Nangong, the brand new Anomaly Stunner, who, like I said in the previous video, if you like Anomaly at all, you will pull this character. This character is ridiculous. They are so strong that I just do not see how Anomaly is going to survive without this character. She is ridiculous. She is the Dylan of Anomaly, and I'd like to say since she's more niche, she's probably stronger. I'm running 4-piece Faithin, 2-piece AP, and I'm running her on a pretty standard, well, it's pretty standard build you'll be running for a stunner, but funnily enough, I've cranked up her stats just a little more so she can act as a DPS alongside our Miyabi, because we want our disorder damage to be pretty chunky. Pretty chunky. And then for our third teammate, we're running the GOAT of Anomaly, Yuzua. Yuzua's on a pretty standard build, M0W1, 4-piece Moonlight Lullaby, 2-piece Faithin's Melody for the AM. Not much to write home about, she's a GOAT. That's all you need to know. So for our buffs, we're going to be picking Sudden Nightfall, where our basic attack dodge counter and ultimate damage is increased by 20%, and we'll also ignore 30% of the ice res. Whenever we inflict a disorder, we'll get 50% crit damage, The day's recovery speed is decreased by 15, and the stun multiplier damage is increased by 30. So, addressing the elephant in the room, unfortunately, this buff does have crit damage on it. Fortunately, our build has like no crit rate, so I don't think it impacts the run all too much. The important part that I see in this specific thing, this specific buff, is you ignore more ice res, we get a little bit more basic attack, dodge counter, and ultimate damage. But the most important part to me is day's recovery speed and stun damage multiplier. Nangong Yu stuns incredibly fast and has a lot of days. So we are effectively, what we're trying to do with this run is we are trying to make the marionette wish it never existed. We want the marionette to not move at all. And then obviously for our routing, it's going to be the pretty obvious Yuzua into Miyabi, then into Nangong Yu, because Nangong Yu actually has a back swap, so we'll be swapping onto Miyabi. And then for the Bangbu, we'll just be using Snap. I'm sure you could make a argument for some other type of Bangbu, but I feel like a broken record every time I say this, and I really wish Hoyoverse would address it. Bangbus don't do anything. They're so minimal. They are so minimal, and I hate it. Because I feel like Bangbus are like the mascot. Like, I feel like they're quite important to the game and like the game's identity. And to know that like they're kind of just walking accessories, like new Eridu, what are they called? Labubus is, it's annoying. It's annoying. But let's talk about the team instead of Bangbus. So, like I said, our main goal is to just try to absolutely lock this boss in place and get as many disorders as possible. You can see we're hitting chunky disorders already, and we want to try to either start our stun rotation with Miyabi or Yuzua, just because starting with Nangong Yu means I have to end it with Yuzua, and sometimes I don't need the buff to be active at that moment. So we're going to hold our charge attack, and then we will get into it. So at this part, it's very vital that we start just spamming stuff out. We do not want this boss to move. We want it to stay frozen. We want to lock it into place with as much stuff as we humanly can. If you look at the days bar right now, you can see Nangong Yu just eats this boss alive. EX, and then we'll go on to Yuzua, and we will use her ultimate. It's going to continue to lock the boss, and hopefully, when we do this, yep, we can start the stun rotation, and it doesn't get to fly. So like I said, if we start the rotation on someone like Yuzua, then we don't have to worry about swapping onto her, and we can just keep rotating as much as possible. The boss is unfortunately going to jump up pretty soon. There's nothing I can really do to stop it. The only thing we can do is just try to get some extra performance points off of killing these clones. This team has a very hard time, just in general. I think it's honestly just a me issue. We are going to try to save our EX. It has a very hard time killing clones. Let me not interrupt myself there. We are going to waste a little bit of our energy here just because we really want to save Nangong Yu. Oh, I didn't mean to rotate onto her. We really want to avoid using our ultimates just because we need all that stuff for whenever she comes out of the stun window. And then we will try to lock her into place once again and not let her jump up. I think that is very vital to this team's success, is making sure that this boss does not get to do anything. We will definitely lack on performance points because of it, but it's fine. We unfortunately had to use Nangong Yu there to start the stun window, just because if we didn't, she was probably going to jump up in the air, and that would have been not good. Get some nice chunky disorders, hold our basic again, use all of our stuff again just to try to lock it. We're in the last 17 seconds, so if we can stop it from jumping up in the air, that would be very good. Maybe get an extra disorder with Nangong Yu. Try to freeze it. We can freeze it once again, lock it in place again, Nangong Yu ult, and as you can see, this team is very good at just making sure the boss just does not get to move, especially when it's freezable. Miyabi excels in freezing enemies, obviously, and with Yuzua you get extra build-up rate. It's very nice. As you can tell, no performance points, barely trying, just talking through this 38k. Now, are you ready to see something really funny, which is going to make the title make a lot of sense, the thanks Nangong Yu part? Nangong Yu actually does more on this team than Miyabi does. Miyabi is a support for Nangong Yu in this team. All Miyabi is doing is allowing Nangong Yu to hit massive chunky blooms and disorders. So as long as you rotate right and you don't accidentally have an assault pop up when you should have a frostburn or a freeze or something like that for Nangong Yu, she hits pretty good damage. I do want to do another run just so I can talk about the team more and give more showcases, because I do think in the hands of a consistent Miyabi player, I'm not a Miyabi player. Let me put that out right there. My Miyabi on my account is M0W0, and that will probably never change. I'm not super into Anomaly. It's not really my playstyle. And even I am able to successfully route 38Ks, 40Ks. I think the highest I got, routing it like absolutely perfectly, locked in with like, I don't know, some lock-in music or something. I think the highest I was able to hit yesterday was around 46k, 47k. So it's definitely possible, especially if you have, if you have manual chain attacks on. I eventually one day, I want to learn manual chain attacks. I think that's very important and to your success in Zenless. I think it's really slept on by a lot of the casual fan base, just because it's like, well, what's the point? Like, it's hard to do sometimes. And it's like, I see that. I definitely see that. We're gonna go ahead and, like I said, we're just trying to lock this boss in place. Like, we do not want marionettes to even get the chance to move. And then we will use our ult. That's gonna give us more energy. And it seems like we'll be able to, yep, no. Oh, that's so unfortunate. It was at 99. I don't know if y'all saw that, but it was literally the last moment it could have done that. See, it came out and immediately got stunned. That's such a time waste. But what can you do? What can you do? Not every run can be perfect. Not every... And we also get the really bad blooms there too, because Yuzua triggered an assault. At least we can kind of save it there. We are going to waste stacks because we're actually the worst Miyabi player known to man. Unfortunately so. But I think one of the things that Zenless devs are definitely aware of is the fact of just how strong freezing bosses is. You'd think after Genshin, they would just try to avoid having freezable bosses in general, but they apparently didn't learn from their mistakes last time. Okay, and one thing is, whenever I'm doing the hold basic attack with Miyabi, I'll try to do her enhanced basic attack, Nangong Yu's, just because it gives me the time to actually like hold it without the boss disappearing and running away, which is, like I said, important. Oh, that freeze didn't hit. So what you're seeing is kind of a bad run as compared, just because we're not stopping the boss from doing anything. But as long as we don't swap onto Yuzua here, we can kind of save a little bit of time. Do our charge, hit our first bloom, hit our second bloom disorder. We can hit another charge attack, reset our buff on Yuzua, swipe through, use our ult. I don't think we're going to be able to lock this boss down again. It would be really nice, but I just don't see it. I don't even think we're going to get another stun window, just because we're not near an ultimate at all. And that's pretty vital for Nangong Yu. But yeah, what you're seeing is a definitely a more casual, not really actively trying to stop the boss from moving, run. This team, it does surprisingly well. It does surprisingly well, and that is 100% thanks to Nangong Yu. I don't think Promia said is a absolute game changer on Miyabi, but I do think Nangong Yu is very strong. So for our last run, I want to have a little fun. I don't do this often, but to show how much I actively enjoy playing Anomaly Mom-Abi, how much I genuinely enjoy playing this Miyabi team is I want to do a higher investment. I think I'm going to get M1 for all of our units. So Miyabi's M1 is the thing I'm most interested in. So while she's in her stance, every 1 point of Frostfallen that she consumes, so she's always going to consume 6 on a good day, she's going to ignore 6% of her defense. Times 6. So she's going to have 36% defense ignore on her enhanced basic attack level 3. So whenever the slash for charge level 3 hits an enemy under Frostburn, so under her attribute anomaly effect, it will remove the Frostburn state and increase squad members' anomaly buildup rate by 20% for 10 seconds. This is very good for the fact that you run into the global anomaly, like kind of lock-off mechanics they have, where it's just really hard to proc another anomaly because the server's just like, hey, you're doing too much. You're getting drunk at the bar. This is your last one. You need to take a break. You need to leave. You come back tomorrow. But it's doing that for your anomaly. So I think this M1 is very interesting for an anomaly playstyle specifically. Nangong Yu's M1 is pretty simple. Whenever she hits an enemy with her EX special, or another move like that, she will decrease the enemy's all attribute res resistance by 18%. She will also start with her her enhanced basic attack fully charged. So it's a pretty standard 2.0 M1 where it just solves some kit issues she has and makes her more comfortable to play while giving you a nice buff. And then M1 Yuzu is very simple. She gets 30 energy whenever she enters the battlefield, so she can immediately EX, and whenever they're in a sweet scare state, all attribute res is reduced by 10%, and attribute anomaly damage and disorder is buffed up to 130% of its normal value, which is very good. So we're going to be working with 28% all attribute res reduced, which is very good. I'm really interested to see how much the Mindscapes affect this off-meta team, and just usually I don't get the chance to get Mindscapes because I'm broke, and it's really hard for me to get Mindscapes because the last person I got a lot of Mindscapes for was Hugo, and yeah. The last person I got Mindscapes for was actually Lucia, though. I really love Rupture, so it was very important to me that I got that. Okay, we will do our charge, and we will swap off onto Yuzua, and this will allow us to ignore that the swapping onto Yuzua part, which is very important. Hold our basic attack, get our first disorder in, our second disorder in, swipe through. We're gonna normal attack, start charging now, just so we can get her locked away for a little bit while we do that charge. EX. And unfortunately, we didn't lock it for long enough. But it's okay. We are definitely already at a higher score. If we weren't, I would be concerned. We should be able to stun it pretty fast, but we don't want to stun with Nangong Yu. That is definitely not what we want to do. It's okay even if we stun with Miyabi. We just don't want to stun with Nangong Yu just because we don't want to waste the time with trying to make sure that Yuzua gets some chain attack, just because it's not that important. And then we will ult, and what we're just trying to do, like I mentioned before, is we really just want to lock this boss in place and make sure that basically we just don't let it move. It's going to be kind of hard to do just because we don't have any ultimates to speak of, but I think we can. Nope, we were so close there again. We're at 91. Come on. Come on. I was just tapping no energy EXs on Yuzla, like, come on. Come on. Hold our charge basic. It's going to remove that Frostburn state. Give us 2 nice meaty disorders there. And then we will charge. Yuzla EX, ultimate early. Just because I don't think we're going to get another jump up phase. That would be really bad and honestly kind of nuke the run. So I'm really hoping we don't get that. And we didn't. Wonderful. And we will swap onto Miyabi. Hold our charge basic. Hit 1 disorder. Hit 2 disorder. Ultimate. We're just trying to dump everything we have because we're in like the last 40 seconds here. So it's really vital. Try to get a disorder. So in the last 4 seconds, she did pop back up. So all we can do now is just try to kill some clones and hit an aura shot at Miyabi at the end, with Kama looking like a little chud. So yeah, definitely an improvement. Definitely an improvement. I think if this team was in the hands of somebody who can correctly play Miyabi and plays on manual chain attacks and understands freeze, they would do a lot better than me. A lot better than me. This was more of a silly video. Anomaly Miyabi is one of those builds that will forever stick with me. It was one of my highest, if not my highest performing video. It had me have interactions with a bunch of wonderful people in the community, so it'll always have a special place in my heart. So seeing things that can possibly buff it and make it do better is always really wonderful to see. Prometheus set is probably not the best thing in the world on her, and Anomaly Miyabi definitely scores marginally lower than regular Miyabi in most cases for most skilled players with Miyabi, but it's still really fun to see the things that you can get up to in Zenless Zone Zero. If you appreciated the video, if you enjoyed the video and maybe got a nose snort and exhale, something of that nature, I would appreciate a like, a comment, a subscribe. The brand new hype thingy on the video would be cool too. Anything you would do for another content creator, except maybe the dislike button, you can save that for them. I'm not that greedy. They can keep that one. I would appreciate it immensely. I hope you guys have a great day, a great weekend, a great whatever you have. I just hope it's great. It's fantastic. Bye, y'all.